Okay, hello again, everybody. I restreamed. I think was pushed the wrong. I pushed the wrong settings for the notification. I think. Huh. Yeah. So, yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Carol. Did you get my notification? I think I pushed the wrong button. I had it in the middle, and I was supposed to go down on the bottom square. Because now it's showing 4 up there in the corner there. So hopefully we'll get everybody in here. Lucy, did you get yours? Yeah. That's what happened. I had the settings off. Ooh, I just found something good. Okay, I'm going to show some photo shots before we get to first video. So this will be interesting. I got to split the screen. So they're saying here the Super Bowl is 37 miles or 38 minutes away from San Remo, where we have noted multiple earthquakes recently. That's interesting. So we'll get the next photo. This says the Super Bowl, Levi Stadium, the bottom of the bay at the end of the fault line, the San Francisco Bay, the Golden Gate, and it says buckle up. Here on the back end, there says buckle up. So there's that. Oh, I can't get that one. Nope, can't get that one. All right, I think that's all the photos I got. Okay, we got a Nell video from last night. She came out and did a 17-minute a 17-minute one.
Here we go. Welcome, 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 everybody. It is Wacky Wednesday. If I'm sounding a little bit like snuffleupagus because I've got a bit of a snuffy nose. So, ladies and gentlemen, is it just so exciting? Boy, oh boy, oh boy. We had Melania ring the bell today, but we will integrate that in just a short moment, another moment in time. Let's have a look at some very interesting fundamentals. We've got Coinbase, a crypto exchange and wallet integrating metal futures. So they are integrating your commodities that, of course, are linked to your digital asset, that being your new currencies. There's an interesting article. There is so much to talk about today, and I didn't even write this one down, but let's talk about the USDT, which is your Tether. Tether actually went to zero, as well as what Bitcoin and Ethereum did during that time of the scamdemic. What's interesting, ladies and gentlemen, is that is your new US Treasury note. Just make a note of that. As things unfold, we will educate you on all of that. But what's also important is, of course, the CME, which is your Chicago Mercantile Exchange. They are also launching. Now, think of exchange, think of currencies, but we're now combining them with Cardano, Chainlink, and XLM futures. They're talking about doing 24/7 trading. As we have said progressively over the last few weeks, we've talked about how the trading platform has been integrated into your quantum system. So it starts to really come into play. Now, those contracts, those contracts are set to go live on February the 9th. Interesting timing. What's also very interesting, there was an article that came out from Malaysia, and this is tied in with the CMKX here in, of course, the US. And it was talking about how it's going to be finalising its payouts on Thursday the 29th. So keep an eye out on that. As I said, I expect to get some further confirmation of that as to how that was paid out and the time-wise for those who have been waiting for all of that. What was also interesting, let's go to Mexico and Peru, and I would say Chile would be part of this as well. This is Revolut, a new banking system, has commenced full banking services in Mexico and expects to go into Peru very, very soon. I would incorporate, as I said, Chile in that as well. They're going to link 40 countries or 40 currencies over there as well. So you start to see how this currency revaluation, ladies and gentlemen, is all coming together. So with all of that being said, Capital One, now they have been making some massive changes just in the last few weeks or months. Understand that these have been acquisitions that have gone on in the background for quite some time. We're seeing the acquisitions such as Discover, but the big one that came out, of course, is Brex, B-R-E-X. That is tied up with the global AI services. So this will also supercharge Capital One in the global scale of things. So happy days for all of you. But during those times of changes, understand Capital One customers may experience some little glitches, but do not panic. They are on the way up and up and up. Fidelity, wow, that is a digital asset stablecoin being released in coming weeks as well. Coming weeks, you don't say, Fidelity. Of course, Fidelity is linked to those of course, the birth certificates and things like that as well. So keep an eye out on that. That is the release of your acquisitions with all of those previously corrupted systems. So Fidelity is now a stable coin, and it's being released in the coming weeks. Well, let's have a look at the IMF. Boy, have we seen, and I have never seen so many articles regarding the IMF, ladies and gentlemen. So let's start to put this together, because sometimes we just scroll through and go, yeah. But it has been extremely busy. Now, we do know that the IMF work alongside with the World Bank, and they are working alongside of BRICS. Fancy that. So, just in the recent days, though, we've seen Zambia, Ukraine, Sri Lanka, and Zimbabwe having revaluations of their loans with the IMF. This, of course, affects the valuation of their currencies. But what was even more interesting is the amount of Article 4s.
Yeah, I think it came out.
Now, we hear and see these things in Iraq. Well, now we're seeing them in Bhutan. We're having articles out of Canada. So all you beautiful Canadians out there, get excited. So Canada, Libya, the Republic of Kazakhstan, the Principalities of Liechtenstein, etc., etc., etc. So there is huge movements, and what this is so exciting is because they're finalising their loans with the old system, with the IMF, and incorporating into the new BRICS Development Bank that we have been talking about in the course of the last few months. A lot of people have been asking me about Maliki. And what's interesting about that is that this is just all theatre, okay? Now, bringing Maliki back to the forefront, of course, he is an Iranian puppet. So don't get too concerned about Maliki coming in. This is, of course, the finalisation of that old corrupt system in Iraq. So we'll put that one to bed right then. Of course, two things happened today in the world of course, Washington, D.C. We saw Trump in Iowa. Whilst he's having his speech, of course, the EBS went off. Boom! During his little buzzy speech about the midterms. Well, it also came across the screen, New York and Texas. You couldn't make it up if you tried. Of course, whilst that's going on, Melania is ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. Where's the new stock exchange going, ladies and gentlemen? It's moving to Texas. So EBS is not what we thought it was, ladies and gentlemen. This is just collapsing the New York Stock Exchange and diverting it to, of course, Texas. So there's your EBS, ladies and gentlemen. We will see. Let's let that one play out. But what was also very exciting was that, of course, Melania was dressed in black, meaning blackout. So that also ties up with the EBS that occurred during Trump's speech in Iowa. It also came up ICE exchange. Now, there is actually an exchange called ICE, and it's your intercontinental exchange, ladies and gentlemen. So all the hoo-ha about ICE, and if you were to add the letter N to make it nice, I want you to think of Iowa because that's your farmers, and that's Nasara, ladies and gentlemen. So is Nasara going intercontinental? That's very exciting. So we had a blackout. We've had ICE Exchange. We've had New York Exchange moving to Texas. Nasara comes into play. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your great currency reset all in one. Doesn't stop there. In South Africa, they have just banned Melania's movie that's about to be released. Now, you've got to tilt your head on that one, but let's look at what else.
Okay, well, I guess I pushed the wrong settings for the notification. We had Lucy and Carol, they're only two. And I restarted. So I'm going to stay out as long as whenever. I decided to do that. Got everything all done. I did a prayer for Carol, okay, for her uncle. So this came out last night. Yeah, I don't know if he knows I'm on. Hopefully he's listening. So
what else was going on in South Africa? Because there's always something else to divert.
How's it going?
It's not about banning Melania. It's about the blackout, of course, of the segregation, I believe, of the black and white racism that has occurred. So let's flip the switch on that one. But what else happened in South Africa? Of course, they found the largest blue diamond ever recorded, when there's about 41 carats, with clear and clarity. A 33. Gotta love that number, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, they also released today the Child Support Program, which is a benefit to be given to the citizens of South Africa. 190,000 rand is expected to be released to all citizens for child support in February. So look out for that for those in Africa. So if it doesn't get even more exciting, we have Cambodia came out. They have secured their digital banking. So there was a fantastic article that's about to drop for that. We saw Thailand, we saw Vietnam, Malaysia and Indonesia talking about strengthening their currencies. Interesting how these currencies that are strengthening against the US dollar are going to have a reinstatement in their currency. But let's have a look at a very interesting article that caught my attention. And it's about the Swiss franc. Franc. It has been threatening to strengthen against the euro. So what's important about this? The article was talking regarding about currency debasement.
We got sunshine today, okay?
Now, it's not a word you often hear, but let's have a look at what that actually means, because it's very exciting for all of us. Debasement is the structural deliberate action by authorities, that of course being the government and their central banks, to reduce the currency's value. But what's exciting about that, ladies and gentlemen, is that it will result in inflation, but the debasement or defacement of that currency is to do with the printing supply. So what they're actually doing is that so many Swiss francs have been printed that they're actually putting them out on the market to lower the interest rates. But historically, ladies and gentlemen, when they start talking about debasement, that's when they're going to start pegging it to, none other than gold and silver. Get very, very excited. It's an article, of course, as I said, that a lot of people are not understanding or are unaware. But knowledge is power, ladies and gentlemen. And when I saw the word debasement, I haven't seen that for quite some many years. It is, as I said, historically means that they are moving back to a metal-based currency. So I was extremely excited about that article. With even that being said, we're seeing similar things, of course, occur in Nigeria, Iran, Pakistan, and they're also expecting a rate change at any given point in time as well. So they are throwing out all of their currencies that have been printed over time. So we'll let that one fold out. The Trump card, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier in the show, has been played out. The US dollar value, of course, has dropped in the last 4 years, but Trump comes out and says it is great. It is great. It's part of the Great Awakening. It concludes the show in the sense that, as I said, you devalue your currency and then you debasement. And how many times did Trump say, ladies and gentlemen, Biden's been in his basement? Just putting that out there. Boy, am I excited today. This, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, is Release the Kraken. XRP is expected to go for a bull run, not financial advice. It's the beginning of the end, ladies and gentlemen. The perfect storm is here. Unfortunately, due to my croaky voice, I will unable to do a Q&A with you today. But please enjoy what I have put together because it is very, very, very exciting and very important news, of course, as I said, for those who have been waiting in the bonds and the CMKXs. Very good news coming out of Malaysia yesterday. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is a good morning, good afternoon, good.
So that one came out last night, I believe. So, yeah, I'm going to stay on as long as I can. I have nothing else to do. Chico's laying on the bed. Ariella being good. Okay. Oh, shoot. So what do you guys think of this photo shot of Melania, our first lady? Is that another calm, you guys? With the blue? Tim. I did a half a show earlier and I had to switch over because I pushed the wrong button. Okay, let's play short one. Let's play this one. Lucy, I think this one's a new one. What? The video's not. Shoot. I can't play that one.
Will absolutely come out and tell the truth, but it's got to be in public hearing, and I want everyone to see it. I'm going to tell the truth. Sir, you can't tell the truth. We have not forgot about Monica Lewinsky. And two, you got to be around alive to do that. So I don't know how that would happen. But anyways, maybe he will. He's just mad. But you know what's funny is that everything about Benghazi is coming out. Don't forget about Benghazi. Hey, mainstream media, how come? Yeah, you better cover this one. It's going to be tough to cover Bill Clinton and cover this because of the mainstream media. When you cover it, you put this in there when American lives were lost. And she said, what difference does it make? Yeah, Benghazi. Oh, yeah, I did it. I don't care. I'm a satanic. Man, guys, this is insane. But the best part today is this. Mighty jungle. Guys, so Trump drops a video, right?
It's
and it's got literally every, I think, Democrat, corrupted person in it, and Michelle and Barack Obama. And all of a sudden now he's so racist. I mean, you can see why, right? He's so racist, even though like this was in there. Hold on. So racist, even though Biden and Kamala are in there. It looks like they're monkeys too. It's called The Jungle Book, I guess. But, this is how they're going to twist it now. He's such a racist. We know what happens. Every time people talk, and they talk more, and all they're doing is just exposing themselves. They're bringing attention to it. Oh, the publicity is fantastic. But hold on. Never forget that all roads lead to Obama. Never forget he created Netflix to absolutely brainwash children and the public in so many ways. Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah, that's Obama's thing. And just look at this. So I hope you still don't have Netflix. But, man, 1997, Netflix was founded.
I don't remember playing
taken
this
over
one.
by you-know-who, Obama. 2020, first major allegation of grooming. Well, it doesn't surprise you. I mean, look at the two on the couch there. Never seen two guys so happy in their life. But hold on. Guys, this is how crazy this is. Check it out. So the real files, when they come out with the grand jury testimony, when Trump gives it the real files out, it says Jeffrey Epstein was confident when he talked to the DOJ for Trump. He said, we would have the little boys ready for Obama and Michelle's visits to the island. And then the girls, we have them ready for the Clintons. And then you have Ghislaine Maxwell down here, who's obviously singing like a bird, and she's going to sing. And I think on February 9th, she has a testimony coming up, right? Or something, or she probably will sing some more. But do you guys understand this movie that's playing out? You literally have mass confusion, people talking about racism, people talking about obviously traffic, and talking about pedo. And you have how many big names now in the public mass awakening? Think about all that real quick. Welcome to the Great Awakening, and buckle up. This is War for the Midterms, and it's going to get really rowdy. God wins. Seek Jesus. Love y'all.
Okay, I got two of the TikTok lady, then go back and do that one guy, and I think this is a new one. I'm not sure.
Is December 14th in the evening, about 7:45.
It's old.
Congresswoman? No. Let me be clear. House Republicans, they already did their job. They passed the bill to fund the government. The only people that are still pretending this shutdown is the GOP's fault are you and your Senate buddies, including the one whose hair looks like it was dyed by a toddler with a juice box that has a grudge.
There's nothing stopping the Trump administration from making sure that every single one of the 42 million Americans, 16 million children, 8 million seniors, 4 million people with disabilities, 1.2 million veterans receive nutrition assistance in November.
When Democrats run out of arguments, they just start yelling Trump like it's Beetlejuice. And right on cue, Democrat Senator Ruben Gallego, or as I like to call him, Ragin' Ruben, he did exactly that on CNN. Now brace yourself, because in a rare moment of clarity from the anchor desk, Casey Hunt, she's actually going to push back. See, either something is in the water over there at CNN, or they stumbled into a journalism seminar by mistake, because boy, are they on a roll. Gallego, however, he looked like a stage 5 TDS case study playing out in real time.
Why is it suddenly right to do it this way and to do it for this long when it didn't used to be the right way in Democrats' view?
Well, that's an easy answer. It's Donald Trump. You're talking about norms in the time of Donald Trump. It's also normal
But Democrats have spent so much time arguing about how maintaining those norms is actually incredibly important in the face of
It's all out the window. It's all out the window, Casey. No, when you're doing the time with Donald Trump, this is the man that is like extorting people. He's literally, breaking every rule.
So let me get this straight. Democrats spend years lecturing the rest of us about protecting democracy and defending norms, but the moment it's politically convenient, those norms just go right out the window faster than Kamala fleeing a border briefing. They preach rule of law until they're the ones breaking it. They demand accountability until it's their turn. And that's why they're losing every messaging battle, including with their own base. Just listen to Lynn from Philly, a lifetime Democrat, calling into C-SPAN to call out her party.
This is the truth. The Democrats, and I'm a Democrat, are the ones that actually, in the Senate side, shut down the government. They did not vote for a continuing resolution except for 3 of them. One is the Senator of Pennsylvania, Fetterman, and all. So they have to get together and stop holding an American hostage. You all talk about this president being a king, but if you want him to solve this problem, you're making him a king.
Looks like the only thing starving in Washington is the Democrats' credibility. I mean, the public sees the ransom note. They know who wrote it, and they're done paying. In fact, it was Hakeem Jeffries who just openly bragged about the role his party is playing in this shutdown. Watch this.
The Senate Republican leader continues to bring the same partisan Republican spending bill to the floor for a vote. It's now been brought to the floor 13 times, and it's went down to defeat 13 times because Leader Schumer and Senate Democrats partnering with House Democrats have continued to take the same position.
Good for Jake. That is how journalism is.
Okay, the next one's 12 minutes, you guys. Let me know if we played this one or not. Flying Eagle must be, well, he might thought I was going on at 6. Yeah, it's all a while.
CGI. Our hair will fall the way it's supposed to fall. Limbs will bend the way they're supposed to bend. You know, when you create a human in CGI, it basically uses the parameters of a proper human skeleton. So your legs don't bend the wrong way and your head can't turn around backwards and things like this. But with the AI, when AI creates videos, it doesn't have a good knowledge yet of human anatomy. So it can create little glitches and do things that are slightly wrong. And a lot of this stuff was pointed out that Matt was showing me on the alleged Hamas body cam videos. And think about it. What was Hamas doing with body cams? I mean, these guys come in hang gliders and parachutes, and they're running around with high definition body cams. And then within a day, Israel's got these body cams, this body cam footage, and it's been shown on the news all around the world. How did they get it so quickly? Hamas just gave this to them? Really? Is that what happened? Why were they running around with body cams anyway? You know, none of it really makes sense when you look at it. But what he showed me in that interview, and I urge you to go back and look at it, folks. It's on my BitChute channel. The name of the video is How Israel Faked the October 7th Attack, a conversation with Matt and Gerton. That's the name of the video. You'll find it on BitChute, you'll find it on Odyssey, you'll find it on Rumble. I urge you to go and look at it. There's a lot of compelling information in there. And again, a lot of this footage that you see on this video is AI created. It's not CGI. There are certain artifacts that are in place that prove that it's AI created. And not only that, we're told that it's body cam footage, and body cam footage was sent to the news service, and then they put it on TV and they inserted their own text and their dialogues and their little information bars running across the screen. But when you actually look at the videos, Matt discovered that actually these text and these information bars were created at the same time the video was created, because there are certain AI artifacts that can be seen around this text.
You look at that text there, see how that text has all those artifacts around it? So there's the cars, and then you have your banding on the sides. You don't see it, then you see it when you divide it. And so look at that text, how the text has all those glitches around it.
Yeah.
That's AI. Because normally when you render something,
what do you guys think?
See how that has all that noise around it?
Yeah.
When you normally render something, you get exactly what you get, right? And there's videos where they're mixing authentic, normally rendered content, like standard CGI, and it doesn't have these artifacts.
Yeah, he did a really good job, folks. He really exposed a lot of things. Some of my favorite parts were when two alleged Hamas terrorists actually merged together as they're crossing paths.
So, yeah, so look at this one. This guy walks into him. I thought I switched the other one and just had the same clip, but I was on the wrong one.
And they both sort of blend into one.
That's like a matrix. So
Yeah.
he runs into him, and then it shifts him.
That's kind of interesting, isn't it? And another one where a guy, one of the people apparently running away from the Nova Festival, his head and neck literally detached from his body and then slipped back down his shirt.
Has anybody seen this?
So his head completely detaches here. His head, so that's one of the telltale signs of the AI, is that it doesn't have any reference to the human anatomy or like a skeleton, even if you were doing CGI. So the parts detached, like how if you see the bottom of his head here, his neck's going in and out and all over the place. So look at his neck.
Mhm.
So he's bouncing, neck extends out.
You guys want me to
See the
stop
bottom
it?
of it there? It
Mm.
detaches from his body, floats up, floats back down. So it's all over the place. And then he's just no talking, no mouth movement. He's not screaming, he's not yelling for anybody. He's just, okay, they got me.
That's an interesting thing to do, folks. I don't know that I could do that when I was running. Another
I
one
got 6
is
minutes left. You guys
a
want me to
motorcycle. The
continue?
wheel isn't spinning.
Here's the sliding motorcycle wheels that aren't rotating.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's one of the issues, because basically you got to think of the AI as just it's learning based on what it sees, right? So it doesn't have any physical. Even if you're rendering this with CGI, you'd still have a physical reference to the rotation of the wheel, right? So it has it's basically has to fake everything, and it doesn't always get it right on every frame. You can kind of see the line cutting through there, but yeah. So those are sliding motorcycle wheels.
And there's all sorts of glitches like this. There's a car that actually moves with the fence. When the fence starts to open, it's parked in front of a gate. The gate starts to open and the car actually moves with the gate just for a few frames.
So on this one,
Okay, sorry about that one, you guys. I'm not sure about this one either. It says 1 day ago, so it's only a day old.
And tarnish our reputation nationwide. Minnesotans are losing faith that accountability will ever come. During the 2015 governor's fishing opening, Governor Walz visited Cross Lake, the city I'm proud to represent. So following discussion, he agreed to meet with local mayors from the Brainerd Lakes area. Across the table, the message was consistent and clear. Affordability is collapsing in the state of Minnesota, and unfunded mandates are crushing our communities. When pressed about the looming deficit, the governor acknowledged the Department of Human Services was being abused, that guardrails were lacking, and that counties were enrolling individuals into programs without sufficient oversight.
8 minutes.
On that point, the governor was right. But the acknowledgement raises an even more troubling question. If this abuse was known, why were stronger safeguards not put in place sooner? Federal prosecutors and investigative reporting have alleged that fraud tied to Minnesota-administered programs may total billions of dollars, with estimates publicly cited as high as $9 billion. While the state administration currently has disputed having definitive proof of that full amount, what is indisputable is this: hundreds of millions of dollars have already been proven stolen. Dozens of defendants have been charged by federal prosecutors, and systematic failures allowed it to happen. Not enough has been done by the governor, his administration, as well as our legislature to protect Minnesota taxpayers, protect counties, and restore confidence in state government. Accountability has been very slow. Reforms have been reactive. Minnesotans are left wondering how much more damage will be tolerated before real change actually occurs. As early as 2018, if not earlier, fraud was brought before congressional oversight committees in Washington, D.C. The warnings were there and the risks were clearly known. Minnesotans reasonably assumed that our governor and elected leaders would act, that they would confront fraud, prosecute those who stole from taxpayers, and put real safeguards in place to prevent it from ever happening again. Sadly, that did not happen. They were simply too Minnesota nice. Instead, we saw hesitation, delay, and deference when urgency and resolve were required. Instead of being stopped, sadly the fraud was allowed to grow. Instead of being contained, it escalated. What could have been addressed early was ignored, and now the consequences have multiplied. The crisis was not sudden. it was simply ignored. While Minnesota elected officials are currently busy playing the blame game, federal prosecutors are now here investigating on what the hell went wrong. Mayors see up close how catastrophic fiscal policy and unchecked fraud hollow out our cities, strain our budgets, and drive up taxes. And it also erodes trust among the people we serve. It's not abstract. We live it, we breathe it, we hear it at the grocery store, at the post office, and at City Hall. Cities are at the level of government closest to the people. We are the ones who respond when snowplows don't arrive, when streetlights go dark, when water mains break, or when businesses need help navigating permits, or when seniors are looking for support. When something fails, the call does not go to the governor's office or the state capitol. It comes right to City Hall and the mayors. Every unfunded mandate and cost shift forces us to impossible choices. Raise taxes, cut services, delay critical infrastructure, or stretch already thin city staff even further. This strain now reaches the very core of community safety. Police officers and firefighters are on the front line protection for our residents, yet rising levies and state-imposed costs make it increasingly difficult for cities to invest in the additional public safety our communities genuinely need to stay safe. Public safety, infrastructure, and basic community services are already on the chopping block, not because cities are mismanaged, but because the system above us is failing. All the while, the state continues to spend at a reckless pace, passing policies that increase the burden on Minnesotans far more than they provide relief. More mandates, more costs, more taxes, less accountability, less support, and less stability. And when no one steps in to stop it, when accountability fails at the very top, mayors are left with no choice but to stand up. This is why we are here. Not because we want to be, but because we have to be. Minnesota needs a reset. Mayors do not have prosecutorial authority or subpoena power, but make no mistake, we are done standing on the sidelines. Why? We are pulling out every stop available to us, and that is why we are here at the Capitol today. We have worked quietly, we have sent letters, we have met behind closed doors, and we've had endless phone calls with our state legislators. And still, their problems continue to grow worse. So now we are stepping forward publicly as a united front of 261 mayors, collectively and unmistakably, to insert ourselves directly into the decisions being made in this very building. It means more than emails, it means more than phone calls, it means standing here, shoulder to shoulder as we are today, demanding accountability and reform where it has been absent for far too long. We will not let fraud go unanswered. We will not allow our residents to remain unprotected. We will not accept fiscal policies that squander opportunity, stifle business growth, and drain household budgets. Saddling our cities with often ideologically driven, unfunded mandates we cannot absorb, whether it's carbon-free energy, infrastructure compliance, or housing and zoning, only leave our residents holding the bag. And we are saying no more. Our perspective is shaped not by ideology, but by responsibility, born from real-world experience and the daily reality of local government. We are here to fight for common sense reform. We are here to fight for policies that grow Minnesota's economy, strengthen the pocketbooks of our citizens, and restore trust in our government. We are prepared to work hard, in hand, with any legislator who is willing to listen, willing to act, and willing to put Minnesotans first. This is mayors stepping in because no one else has, and we are not backing down.
Okay, more updates out of Minnesota. So this one is 15, and I got 3 coming up. No Billy yet. Couple Benny still. My first show I did for an hour and a half. If you guys seen that or not, I stopped it. I had to restream. But this one's 15 about Jack Smith and his wife. Yes, I might have played it. I can't remember.
There is a sound prosecutors dream about hearing in courtrooms. It is not applause. It is not cheering. Those things never happen in professional settings. The sound prosecutors dream about is silence. The kind of complete, absolute silence that follows a revelation so shocking that every person in the room stops breathing at the same time. I heard that silence yesterday, and it was preceded by something I have never heard in 3 decades of courtroom work. A judge audibly gasping, not a quiet intake of breath, a full, unmistakable gasp that echoed through the courtroom. Because the prosecutor had just said 4 words that changed everything. His wife wore a wire. The trial had been going for 3 weeks. Bank fraud, false statements, wire fraud, standard white-collar case. The defendant was a real estate developer who had allegedly submitted inflated property valuations to secure loans. The prosecution had documents, emails, financial records, good evidence, but mostly circumstantial. The kind of case where the defense can argue that errors were innocent mistakes, that the defendant relied on professionals, that intent is hard to prove. The jury had been listening carefully, taking notes. The case could have gone either way. Then came yesterday afternoon. The prosecution was in the middle of presenting their case. They had already called bank executives, accountants, real estate appraisers, standard witnesses establishing that the valuations were false and that the banks relied on them. The defense had cross-examined effectively, suggested that appraisals are subjective, that different experts reach different conclusions.
This one okay?
That the defendant had no reason to doubt the numbers his team provided. Reasonable doubt was very much in play. The prosecutor stood up to call her next witness. She said, "The United States calls Rebecca Martinez." A woman in her early 40s entered from the back of the courtroom. Professional attire, composed. She walked to the witness stand, was sworn in, sat down. The prosecutor began with standard background questions: name, occupation, how long she had lived in the area. The witness answered calmly. Then the prosecutor asked the question, "Ms. Martinez, what is your relationship to the defendant?" The witness looked directly at the defendant, made eye contact for the first time, and said, "He is my husband." The courtroom stirred. You could hear people shifting in their seats. The defense attorney's head snapped up. He had not been expecting this. Spousal testimony is complicated. Spouses cannot be compelled to testify against each other in most circumstances. If the wife is here voluntarily, testifying for the prosecution, that means something significant happened. The prosecutor let the moment breathe. Then she asked her next question. "Ms. Martinez, are you testifying here today voluntarily?" The wife said yes. "Has anyone forced you or coerced you to testify?" "No." "Do you understand that you have the right to refuse to testify against your husband?" "Yes." "And you are choosing to testify anyway?" "Yes." The prosecutor walked back to the evidence table, picked up a small device, held it up so the jury could see it. It was a recording device, about the size of a key fob. The prosecutor asked the witness, "Ms. Martinez, do you recognize this item?" The witness said she did. "Can you tell the jury what it is?" The witness took a breath. Then she said, "It is a digital audio recorder that I wore for 6 months while having conversations with my husband about his business dealings." That is when the judge gasped. Out loud.
Wow, this is pretty good.
Audibly. "I was sitting in the 3rd row and I heard it clearly. So did everyone else." The judge caught herself immediately, composed her expression, but that initial reaction was unmistakable. Even the judge, who had presided over hundreds of trials, had not seen this coming. The defendant went completely still, frozen. His attorney was already on his feet objecting, but the prosecutor was ready. She had anticipated every objection. Marital privilege does not apply when the spouse voluntarily waives it. The recordings were made with the consent of one party to the conversation, which is legal in this jurisdiction. The wife had approached the FBI on her own initiative. No promises were made, no immunity granted. She just decided to cooperate. The judge overruled the objections. The prosecutor continued. Ms. Martinez, why did you decide to record your conversations with your husband? The wife's voice was steady. She said, because I discovered he was committing fraud, and I knew that if I did not document it, he would lie about it later. He lies about everything.
Wow.
The defendant closed his eyes. His attorney was writing furiously on a legal pad. The prosecutor asked, how many conversations did you record? The wife said approximately 60 conversations over 6 months. The prosecutor asked what those conversations contained. The wife said they contained her husband admitting he knew the property valuations were inflated, discussing how to hide that fact from the banks, and coaching her on what to say if anyone ever asked questions. The prosecutor asked to play portions of the recordings for the jury. The judge allowed it. The courtroom audio system came to life. The first recording was a conversation in what sounded like a car. The defendant's voice was clear. His wife asked him about a property appraisal that had come in lower than expected. The defendant said, it does not matter what the appraisal says. We tell the bank what we need the value to be. They never check. His wife asked, but is not that fraud? The defendant laughed, literally laughed on the recording. He said, only if you get caught. And we are not going to get caught because everyone does this. The prosecutor played 5 more clips, each one more damaging than the last. In one, the defendant explained exactly how he manipulated the financial statements. In another, he told his wife to lie to investigators if they ever came asking questions. In a third, he discussed using shell companies to hide assets. The jury was riveted. Several were shaking their heads. One juror in the back row had her hand over her mouth.
This
was not circumstantial evidence anymore. This was the defendant, in his own voice, admitting to every element of the crime. The defense attorney tried to recover during cross-examination. He asked the wife why she stayed married to the defendant if she thought he was a criminal. She said she had filed for divorce 3 months ago. He asked why she decided to record her own husband. She said because she had watched him destroy other people's lives with his fraud, and she was not going to be complicit anymore. He asked if she was angry at the defendant. She said yes, she was angry, but that did not change the fact that the recordings were real and the words on them were his. The defense attorney tried to suggest the recordings were taken out of context. The wife said there were 60 recordings totaling over 40 hours of conversation. The context was very clear. Let me explain why this testimony was so devastating from a legal perspective. In fraud cases, the hardest element to prove is knowledge. Did the defendant know the statements were false? Prosecutors usually prove this through circumstantial evidence. Show the defendant had access to the real numbers. Show he was in meetings where the truth was discussed. Ask the jury to infer that he must have known. But here, there was no inference needed. The defendant admitted it. On tape. To his wife. In private conversations where he had no reason to lie, he told her exactly what he was doing and why. That is direct evidence of knowledge, direct evidence of intent, and it came from the person closest to him in the world. But beyond the legal impact, think about what this means for the defendant personally. His wife wore a wire. For 6 months, every private conversation, every moment of trust. She was documenting his crimes, the person who shared his home, who knew his vulnerabilities, who he confided in completely. She was working with the FBI, recording everything. Then she walked into a courtroom and played those recordings for a jury. The betrayal is almost incomprehensible. Think about the level of deception required. She had to act normal, pretend everything was fine, ask questions designed to get him talking, all while wearing a recording device hidden under her clothing. For 6 months. That takes a psychological toll, but she did it anyway, because she believed it was necessary. And yet, from her perspective, she was doing the right thing. She knew he was committing fraud. She knew people were being harmed, families losing their savings, employees losing their jobs when companies collapsed. She made the choice to stop being complicit and start being a witness, to stop protecting a criminal just because she married him. That decision required courage most people do not have. Now, let me address the question you might be asking. How is this legal? Is there not a marital privilege that protects these conversations? There is. But marital privilege belongs to both spouses. Either spouse can waive it. If the wife chooses to testify and waive the privilege, the defendant cannot stop her. He cannot invoke it unilaterally to silence her. Additionally, marital privilege does not protect conversations about ongoing or future crimes. The privilege exists to protect the sanctity of marriage and encourage open communication between spouses, but it was never intended to be a shield for criminal activity. If the defendant was discussing active fraud with his wife, plotting how to deceive banks, coaching her on lying to investigators, those conversations fall outside the scope of any privilege. The wife had every legal right to record those conversations in a one-party consent state, where only one party to a conversation needs to consent to recording. She was that party. She consented. The recordings are legal, and she had every legal right to provide them to law enforcement. No warrant needed, no subpoena required. She voluntarily cooperated, and the defendant has no legal recourse to stop it. The prosecution rested their case shortly after the wife's testimony. The defense was in an impossible position. They could put the defendant on the stand to try to explain the recordings. But how do you explain saying, "We tell the bank what we need the value to be, they never check"? How do you explain laughing and saying, "Only if you get caught"? You cannot. The words speak for themselves. So the defense rested without calling any witnesses. They had no choice. Anything they said would just highlight how damaging the recordings were. Closing arguments happened this morning. The prosecutor stood in front of the jury and said something I will never forget. She said, "Ladies and gentlemen, you do not have to take my word for what the defendant knew. You do not have to rely on my interpretation of documents or my characterization of events. You can listen to his own words, in his own voice, admitting everything." Then she played the clip of him, laughing and saying, "Only if you get caught. One more time." The jury sat in complete silence. Several were staring at the defendant with expressions that can only be described as disgusted. The defense attorney tried his best. He argued that the wife was bitter about the divorce, that she had an incentive to make the defendant look bad, that conversations between spouses often involve exaggeration or sarcasm, but his arguments sounded hollow even as he made them. Because the jury had heard the recordings, they had heard the defendant's tone. He was not joking. He was not exaggerating. He was explaining how his fraud scheme worked to someone he trusted completely, and that someone decided to stop protecting him and start exposing him. The jury began deliberating 3 hours ago. Based on what I observed, I do not think they will need long. When you have recordings of the defendant admitting to the crime in clear, unambiguous language, reasonable doubt disappears. The only question is how quickly they come back with guilty verdicts. I expect it will be before the end of the day, and when those verdicts are read, the defendant will have to live with the knowledge that his own wife handed the prosecution the evidence that convicted him. I have been thinking about this case constantly since yesterday, about the moment the judge gasped, about the sound of complete silence that followed, about the wife's face as she testified. She was not angry, she was not vengeful, she was just tired. Tired of the lies, tired of the fraud, tired of being complicit in something she knew was wrong. So she made a choice that will send her husband to prison for years, a choice that destroyed her marriage, but also a choice that stopped a fraud scheme that was harming innocent people. History will debate whether she did the right thing, but the law is clear. What she did was legal. What he did was not. One final thought. The defendant had so many chances to avoid this outcome. He could have stopped committing fraud. He could have been honest with the banks. He could have told the truth when investigators first approached him. He could have taken a plea deal. But at every decision point, he chose deception. He chose to keep lying, even to his wife, especially to his wife, because he thought she would never betray him. He thought the bonds of marriage meant she would protect him no matter what. He was wrong, and that miscalculation is going to cost him everything. Let me know in the comments.
Okay, I thought that was an important one. Okay, going on to the next one. Nick Shirley. I don't know if I played this one, Flying Eagle. About 4 minutes.
They do got somebody back there right now. But what do you guys feel like when you do see a large group of a community coming out and trying to stop you guys from deporting somebody who came to the country illegally?
I just think it's unfortunate because with the community trying to come out and trying to hinder our operations, unfortunately, the community doesn't know that some of these people have criminal records. And unfortunately, it just sucks going back to the whole city of Chicago with the mayor not cooperating with us. He's hiding the criminals. So unfortunately, everybody's getting caught up in this situation.
And because are you guys just going after anybody and everybody, or for instance, that car that we had, the red car, who was in that car?
It was a targeted enforcement. We did our homework in regards to the subject. He was wanted. We tried to effectuate the arrest, but due to the community, they make it hard to try to apprehend these individuals.
Because, for instance, that guy was a deportee. He had once been deported. He came back in the country illegally. Therefore, he is suitable to be deported again?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll just reinstate his final order. And that's a misconception that's going on out here as well. Everybody saying they're asking for warrants. But a lot of time, the individuals out here already have a final order. So all we're doing is just making the arrest to effectuate the reinstatement order, and then they'll be deported.
Johnson and Governor Pritzker here, they're going fully against Donald Trump out here. And what does that do to you guys?
Unfortunately, it makes our job even harder. It makes the safety level a little bit higher, elevated with the threats that we're dealing with the community, because everybody think they can help stop the enforcement because they're trying to hinder our investigative and trying to hinder our arrests. But it's still not stopping. It's just another element to the situation where we have to fight the community as well. So,
so the mayor's saying you guys are putting their lives at risk, but meanwhile, by him doing that, they're also putting your guys' lives at risk.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only our lives at risk, but it's just putting the general public at risk as well. Once again, since the mayor don't want to cooperate with ICE, he's hiding the people who have criminal records. Unfortunately, with his actions, it's helping them hide in the community. So therefore, it makes our job even harder because he's hindering that part in regard to us trying to track these individuals. And so just add another layer with the community and add another layer trying to apprehend the criminals as well.
And now they're putting bounties on people like you.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate because once again, when you're out there telling people to hit record, they take it to another level where they think they can just impede our arrest. So it makes our threat even a little bit higher because now when we're trying to do an arrest, we have people that's trying to approach us, and it's fine to record, but when you come at arm's length, that makes us a little bit dangerous because now we don't know if you got a weapon. We don't know your motive or what you're trying to do in regards to the arrest.
And while we left this area, we were tracked down by another protest.
Okay, latest on Nick Shirley. I got another short one, 4 minutes. I think this is a new one.
And 170-year-old British playbook have in common. They're all part of the same war, and the empire just lost its first line of defense. President Trump's new national defense strategy just ended 80 years of American support for regime change operations abroad. No more color revolutions in other countries, no more democracy promotion. The post-war order isn't dying, it's dead. So what do the British do when they can't run their operations overseas anymore? They bring them home. Now they tell you Minneapolis is about communities fighting back against authoritarian ICE agents. But what you're really seeing is a textbook color revolution, the same tactics Lord Palmerston pioneered 170 years ago to stop the American system from spreading. And the same personnel who ran regime change in Ukraine and Syria are now running operations in the Midwest. I'm Susan Kokinda. I've studied how the British pioneered these methods going back to the 1840s. And understanding that history is going to help you see today's battle for what it really is and what it's going to take to win. So if this is your kind of fight, hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons to stay in touch and help us grow. Today, we're going to cover three things. First, Minneapolis as a classic British destabilization operation and the USAID operative caught running it. Second, why the British are suddenly obsessed with Lord Palmerston, the original Color Revolution author. And third, the new national defense strategy as the final nail that forced them to bring the war home. While the media gaslights you about out-of-control ICE agents, Vice President J.D. Vance put his finger squarely on the truth. He said, "This level of engineered chaos is unique to Minneapolis. It is the direct consequence of far-left agitators working with local authorities." Engineered chaos, working with local authorities. Let that sink in. And here's one of those local authorities. Rachel Sayre, the EMS chief in Minneapolis, posted this attack on federal law enforcement.
My background is in international humanitarian response in conflict zones in Yemen, Haiti, Syria, Iraq, and Ukraine. What I've seen here is what I've seen there. A powerful entity violently and intentionally terrorizing people.
Did you catch that? She just told you exactly who she is. Yemen, Syria, Iraq, Ukraine, pretty much everywhere the empire has run a color revolution, she was involved. And during the Obama administration, she worked for USAID, the very institution that Donald Trump and Marco Rubio just shut down precisely because it was a hotbed of anti-American activity, funding the NGOs that helped flood illegal immigrants into this country. She's not comparing Minneapolis to a war zone to be dramatic. She's telling you, what do a shooting in Minneapolis, the Davos?
Yeah, I think that was a new one there. Hey, Laura, yeah, we got did an earlier one today. I did a show for an hour and a half that I had to restream because I didn't push the wrong button. So we'll probably go to 6. 5 minutes on this one.
Spectrum of expenditures. This includes maximizing our return on investment when officers and senior enlisted service members attend expensive civilian universities. Graduates should emerge much more capable warfighters, you'd think. But unfortunately, America's highly ranked universities no longer live up to their founding principles as bastions of free speech, open inquiry, and committed to the American values that make our country great.
Errol's uncle passed away.
Harvard University,
guys.
for example.
I did a prayer earlier.
I know it well. Our military has had a rich tradition with Harvard throughout American history. In 1775, you probably didn't know this, General George Washington took command of the Continental Army in Harvard Yard and used the university as a military base. From that time through the Korean War, military service was commonplace at Harvard. There are more recipients of our nation's Medal of Honor who went to Harvard than any other civilian institution in the United States. But today, this university with such a unique history, which receives billions of our federal tax dollars, is one of the red-hot centers of hate America activism. Too many faculty members openly loathe our military. They cast our armed forces in a negative light and squelch anyone who challenges their leftist political leanings, all while charging enormous tuition. It's not worth it. They've replaced open inquiry and honest debate with rigid orthodoxy. In our line of work, ideological automatons are useless. We need leaders who can wrestle with multiple viewpoints, professionals who can think critically and independently to solve important questions. Even more troubling is Harvard's partnership with our adversaries. Campus research programs have partnered with the Chinese Communist Party. University leadership encouraged a campus environment that celebrated Hamas, allowed attacks on Jews, and still promotes discrimination based on race in violation of Supreme Court decisions. DEI was literally founded at Harvard. Thankfully, President Trump understands this and has moved to end these abuses. He called out Harvard for being a factory of woke ideology and a breeding ground for anti-American radicals. His administration reminded Harvard leadership that it's the responsibility of the federal government to ensure that all recipients are responsible stewards of taxpayer funds. Last year, the Trump administration put Harvard on notice. Quote, Harvard has fundamentally failed to protect American students and faculty from anti-Semitic violence and harassment, in addition to other alleged violations of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, end quote. Why should the War Department support an environment that's destructive to our nation and the principles that the vast majority of Americans hold dear? The answer to that question is that we should not, and we will not. For too long, this department has sent our best and brightest officers to Harvard, hoping the university would better understand and appreciate our warrior class. Instead, too many of our officers came back looking too much like Harvard, heads full of globalist and radical ideologies that do not improve our fighting ranks. So, starting now and beginning in the 2026-2027 school year, I am discontinuing all graduate-level professional military education, PME, all fellowships and certificate programs between Harvard University and the War Department for active duty service members. This policy applies to service members enrolling in future courses of study at Harvard University while on active duty. Now, any currently enrolled service members will be allowed to finish their course of study. With some exceptions, the Ivy League as a whole has pervasive institutional bias and a lack of viewpoint diversity, including the coddling of toxic ideologies that undercuts our mission right here in this building. That is why in 2 weeks' time, components of all of our departments, Army, Navy, and Air Force, will evaluate all existing graduate programs for active duty service members at all Ivy League universities and other civilian universities. The goal is to determine whether or not they actually deliver cost-effective strategic education for future senior leaders when compared to, say, public universities and our military graduate programs. At the War Department, we will strive to maximize taxpayer value in building lethality to establish deterrence. It's that simple. That no longer includes spending millions of dollars on expensive universities that actively undercut our mission and undercut our country. We train warriors, not wokesters. Harvard, good riddance.
Okay, Pete video. So I got 3 Chris videos, at least 3 of them. Let's see, which one should I play first?
We heard lawmakers getting quite a dose of reality from an independent journalist, one that works with Nick Shirley, who conducted an investigation into all these daycares out in Minnesota earlier today. I want to go to David Hawk because he clearly outlined just exactly what's at stake right now.
Every one of these facilities is located in a commercial or industrial building, no play areas, bad neighborhoods, and several of the child care facilities had signage which stated they were open either 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., Quality Learning Center, for example, or open 24 hours. Who the heck brings their kid to stay overnight at a child care facility in a rough neighborhood? None of it made any sense. The Leering misspelling was the final straw for me. That's the spark that ignited my full-on investigation.
Wow. And we learned all kinds of things. Remember? I mean, the Leering Center, yeah, he's right. That was one of the best examples, most egregious examples of just how bad this had gotten. But basically what he found was that daycares, as he mentioned, were located in these industrial buildings, in commercial buildings, in bad neighborhoods with no play areas whatsoever. They claimed to operate 24 hours a day. They, were licensed, for example, for 99 children. But when you went and you looked at the W-2 tax information, what you saw was that there were no employees that would be sufficient for, say, 99 children. So why would you give them the license to operate in the first place? Multiple childcares were found to be registered at the same address, and yet only one daycare name on this sign. That's a clear example, right, of fraud when you have 10 daycares working in one facility, but you only have one facility there on the sign. But they're bilking the government and the U.S. taxpayer for all that money for all those daycares that don't exist. You had misspelled signage, of course, Leering Center being quite infamous at this point. And then the same fraud they're looking at now in Maine. Yeah, up by Bates College, if anybody's spent any time there. Also, Washington State, Ohio, which happens to be the second largest place where we're seeing cash reported by the TSA, leaving in suitcases, heading over to the Middle East. Second largest Somali population as well. So none of this is support from a lot of Republicans who are highly.
Yes. The first one there. I'll probably do 3 of hers today. This one. $15 minutes.
I want to get to that because he spoke up today and said we're going to find out the truth soon. But first, quick shout out for one of our great sponsors. We love Balance in Nature. They've been with us here on the show for a long time, and I take the fruits and veggies. I'll tell you, this stuff is great. David, who works with me, one of my team members, is actually out of Florida. Sent me a picture the other day because somebody was visiting his house, and he's like, look at it, look at what's on the sink, and sure enough, it was fruits and veggies. Anyway, it's really important, right, to take care of yourself, to eat healthy and to drink lots of water and to exercise and all of that. But, look, I get it. We're all busy. We can't always necessarily cook all these vitamins up, but that's where the Balance in Nature's whole health system comes in, because you have 31 different fruits and vegetables all there for you. And it's a great way to make sure that you're getting all of your nutrition. They have spice supplements, which actually mix very nicely into your drinks. It's great. And as I said, you can get the fruits and veggie supplements, which is what I take. You can also mix the powder into a smoothie. So that's another great way to get it. The whole health system actually features ingredients like flaxseed, cinnamon, turmeric, mango, pineapple, wild blueberry, shiitake mushrooms. Ooh, I'm getting hungry. Spinach, kale, all of these things. Forgive me, I said 31. I think it's 47 ingredients that you're getting here. 100% real, whole fruits, vegetables, spices, and fibers, perfect for your daily routine. So go to balanceinnature.com. Use my name, Trish, Trish, so that you get 50% off. 50% off the whole health system for life with this limited time offer. Go to balanceinnature.com to claim it. New and existing customers can lock in the whole health system at $79.99 per order for life. If you cancel in the future, you're going to lose it. But anyway, balanceofnature.com. The president wants to know the truth about Georgia. He wants you to know the truth about Georgia. And he has put one, Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, on the case. He expects that the FBI will reveal exactly who won Georgia. Listen.
But let me ask you this. If China or any of these countries are involved in our elections, that would bring her into it. And everybody knows that Russia, they talked about Russia, it turned out to be a hoax. It was Hunter Biden. It wasn't Russia. Look, we have to have honest elections. Yeah. There should be nothing wrong with the fact that they went in, got ballots from a while ago, and they're going to look at it. And now they're going to find out the true winner of that state.
Ramon?
We know the true winner. Oh, okay. You see, it's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's like you could just feel their blood pressure going up. That was an NBC interview that he did yesterday. And so he wants to know just exactly what went down. As you'll recall, Tulsi Gabbard was on the ground there as they took 700 boxes of ballots away from Fulton County, Georgia.
The director of national intelligence was on scene yesterday with no official explanation why for her exact role in the probe. Back in December, the DOJ sued Fulton County, Georgia, seeking access to 2020 voting records after state officials allegedly failed to respond to a subpoena. FBI's Atlanta field office head was forced out in recent days, but it's unclear if this is all related.
Wow. So it might be. Right? I mean, the FBI field officer getting forced out. Maybe he wasn't going to go along with this the way they needed him to, because it was the FBI that was in there taking the 700 boxes of ballots out. Remember that this was caught? And actually, I think inadvertently, somehow a cameraman from the local Fox affiliate slipped in and was getting this footage until he was sent away. Unbelievable stuff.
Going inside of the election facility.
Our photographer was able to go inside. He was let inside and allowed to be up and close. As you can see, this is interesting because one of the questions we did ask Larry was if agents were restricting his access or asking him to back up at all. And he said that so far they've been allowing reporters to get up close to the situation.
Okay, so now
Sorry, if you want to
just
take
saying
that.
no.
Yeah.
Okay, so now agents are asking them to back up.
Actually, you shouldn't even be in this area, but hey, you know what? I don't have a key, so there you go. Okay.
The cameraman's like, don't look at me.
Okay, so
I'm not
agents
the
are
one who let
asking them to
myself in."
back up, saying our crew should not be in this area. So this is something we're going to continue to monitor. And as our photojournalist gathers more information and reporter Larry Sproul gathers more information, we're going to be able to hopefully get that information for you. Right now,
Wow. I mean, so this is just unbelievable. They've got 700 boxes of ballots. So what are they looking for? They're looking for any kind of indiscrepancies, things that might look like they were copied, et cetera. And again, Tulsi being involved, a lot of people are complaining about this. Well, why is Tulsi? She's the director of national intelligence. Why would she be involved in this? Usually she's on the international front. But the concern here is if there was any tampering, was this, I mean, maybe this is how they put it in her jurisdiction. I'm just hypothesizing here because I get it, right? Like it's an American thing. Why would the director of national intelligence be involved? You heard him say earlier, because look, what do you think happened with Hunter Biden and the Russia thing, et cetera? I mean, come on, right? Hey, great to see you here. Rex Core. I think I said that right. Thanks for the generosity. We'll get to some of your comments in a moment, but let's go back to the president here. Speaking this morning at his prayer breakfast, the Thursday prayer breakfast, talking about what a good job Tulsi's doing on this.
We have a director of national and international intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who's doing a great job. Where's Tulsi? She took a lot of heat 2 days ago because she went in at Pam's insistence. She went in and she looked at votes that want to be checked out from Georgia. They say, why is she doing it? Right, Pam? Why is she doing it? Because Pam wanted her to do it. And you know why? Because she's smart. And they said, well, this has to do, her position has to do, it's really not so, but her position has to do with international. I say, well, the same people that said that, they've been saying Russia has been screwing our elections, okay? So let's assume Russia had something to do with it. They say, no, Russia didn't have. So now they're saying Russia had nothing to do with it. Because if I say Russia, that it's perfectly fine. But you could add China and about 5 other countries to it. But she's done a great job, and Pam has done a fantastic job, and we appreciate it both. I haven't seen you in a couple of days.
Your body gets hard, but goes soft fast. That's your body rejecting the erection. Your equipment rises.
Well, that was a very nice compliment for one Pam Bondi. A lot of people have sort of, myself included, been a little bit frustrated with Pam Bondi as of late, but the president has clearly not lost faith. Listen, the Fulton County thing is a big thing. It's a big deal. The Democrats can't believe this happened. They just can't believe it. They're absolutely aghast. And you have a lot of the folks down there trying to suggest that, well, the FBI is going to do something with the ballots. I mean, come on, for goodness sakes. But, this is the craziness you're dealing with. Hey, Alphonse, good to see you here. He says, the Democrats and their flunkies have viciously attacked Tulsi recently. Why? She has complete integrity. I like Tulsi a lot. I really do. I think that they're afraid of her, Alphonse, for a lot of reasons, maybe because she is so competent. Don't forget, she was a Democrat who switched sides, moving right over to MAGA after what? Hillary Clinton tried to insist she was a Russian spy. I mean, that's a heck of a thing to have said about you, but this is what they say about people. You're either a racist or you're a Russian spy or a racist. Take your pick. With Tulsi, she was a threat. Therefore, they had to take her out. What did they do? I mean, I've followed her career for a while, and I'm like, this woman's good, like really good. I mean, for a Democrat, right? She's really good. And so I've been very high on her since I first sort of noticed her. I want to say back in 2016 when she was just, a regular politician from Hawaii. And she rose up through the ranks and she actually
she
might have
must
had a
be
shot
working,
at getting the Democrat nomination. So how did they take her out?
she
Hillary
comes
made
in
sure
whenever she can.
that you knew she might be a Russian spy.
different
So
things,
yeah,
or-
she's a vet, for goodness sakes. I mean,
Saturday,
you're trying to take down a woman who has been out there putting her life on the line for the country. I don't think she appreciated that at all. And so I
Where
think
are you
she
from again?
and Donald Trump are somewhat simpatico in this. They've both been accused of some pretty heinous stuff. He's an agent for the Russians. That was all false. We know that. Same thing with Tulsi. It was all false. So yeah, they want to know what's going on. And again, they're hyperventilating. My gosh, they can barely even talk in Fulton County, Georgia right now.
Hey everybody, so here's an update. We're at the elections hub right here off of Fairburn Road.
Yeah, we like to ask where everybody's from. Yeah, I can't remember, but hey Kate, YouTube lady has a funny one again today. Grandma.
And they did correct the warrant, and they are now in there getting the documents. 700 boxes of 2020 ballots and accompanying things that go with it, absentee ballots, all the things, right? So our clerk of Superior Court, Shay Alexander, is in there making a log of everything that they're taking, but this is like all wrong. So we're trying to figure out a legal plan, and we should have one, whether that's an injunction, whether a motion to quash, whatever it is, we're trying to figure it out right now, because this is an attack on our elections, meant to keep you from trying to go to the polls in November, being too afraid to change what's going on in our nation. So instead of worrying about people dying in Minnesota, here we are at the Fulton County Elections Hub. So let me go find out what the legal plan is. Hi, everybody. Listen, I know you're watching the news. You're seeing a lot of stuff about this FBI raid at the Fulton County Elections and Registrations. I'm on the inside right now. So I just want you to be real discerning about all that you're hearing from people who are on the outside of what's going on. I'm going to give you the truth about what's happening. So they served a warrant, the FBI, this is Trump, serving a warrant to go pick up the 2020 ballots, which are in a secure location inside of here, 700 boxes. The first warrant that they gave was incorrect legally, they didn't follow the right procedure. They went back and they fixed it, and they came back, and now they are actually collecting the boxes. They are in the chain of command in Fulton County is that once they are archived, they become the possession of the clerk of Superior Court, which is Shay Alexander. She is here and she is with them inventorying everything that they're taking. We, the commissioners, the chairman, the county attorney, are trying to figure out a legal plan as to maybe an injunction, a motion to quash. We don't know yet. We're trying to figure it out. We're getting all kinds of legal advice to stop this, because once they have the ballots, how do we then turn around and do something different when they've already got their hands on it? So this is an attempt to take your vote away. This is all about November 2026, about the primary on May 19th and then the November election. He does not want the midterm elections to take away his power. So he's trying to create chaos. So this is what he does. Chaos in Minnesota, chaos in Fulton County. We are a target. Protect your vote at all costs. I'm telling you, everybody always says your life depends on it. Oh, your life does depend on it this time.
Okay. Can we break this down for just a second? Gosh, she's really panicking. But how is it so scary to say, gee, what happened? Gee, were there anything here that we should pay attention to? I mean, are there indiscrepancies that we should be watching for? Don't forget, this went from a civil case actually to a criminal case, because now the FBI is concerned that there was criminal activity. We don't know, but why can't you ask the question? If you guys have nothing to hide, then so be it. Okay. Don't worry about it. You got nothing to hide. You don't need to freak out. But if you do have something to hide, well, okay, I get it. I mean, so this is the concern. So there's a video circulating on X that allegedly is someone walking through some of these ballots in Georgia, and they're explaining that some of them were sort of, I guess, frankly copied and dropped in and granted, this would not have changed the election outcome. And that's why judges previously would never allow for any of this evidence to be examined. But now, given that we're not trying to change the outcome of the election here, we're just trying to say, hey, what went down? And this has become, in fact, a criminal case. They're looking at stuff like this.
And if you think that maybe that's, if you think that maybe that's just a mistake or or just a coincidence. Here's the next one that shows, you can see Republican is written there, Republican's written there. This is ballot 61. This is ballot number 2. And then each one of them even has this little dot in the Fannie Willis.
Okay, and you have more of those?
We have the entire batch. There's 62 images in here total, and I didn't even get a chance to go through all of them. But these are the most obvious ones where it's clear that it's the same.
Wow.
This one's got the little tail on the side.
Wild.
And so what happened? So do you know the numbers of these total batches? Like,
I don't remember what the totals were when the batches. I don't think they weren't disparate. They were fairly close. But the simple fact that they
so if you see that little bubble right there, this is one image. Here's another image.
Exactly.
The exact same. And the batch number was it 5162?
Also, scanner 5162.
Okay, scanner.
Batch number 235, image number 92, matches the same scanner 5162, batch 234, image 33.
Okay. So there you have it. Duplicate ballots. The entire batch.
So that's what they're trying to figure out. Are there duplicate ballots there? And if you take this forward a little bit more, people have also alleged that maybe there were some illegal votes cast, and that's what they're trying to get to the bottom of.
Okay, that was another good one. 3 short 5-minute ones, and then we'll get to that funny one. She has 2,000 views on it already.
Why are you walking away?
Anybody seen this yet?
Unlock the door.
It's unlocked.
Oh.
It's already unlocked. Yeah, no, I honestly couldn't find.
Let's go. Give us answers. Let's go. Say them out loud for the camera for all my viewers. Let's hear it. Why are you being silent? Let's hear it, Delaney, loud and proud, baby. You want to say it? Let's say it. Why?
No.
Okay, let's go. It's an almond and a well. You should have well-rehearsed corporate action and words ready to go. Our community. I sent out $10,000 for people for rent yesterday that people gave on to my Venmo that I'm going to pay taxes on. Delaney, let's hear a goddamn answer. Come on. No, don't take a pause. Come on, you came here to silence teachers to make sure everything was. I've never seen your fucking face in 10 years of practicing and paying my money at the studio. Don't take a pause. Be loud with core power corporate answers. Let's fucking go. What do you got to say? Louder, Delaney, for us in the back. Let's go. What is it? Why? Why are you having one of our best teachers quit? Because you can't stand behind her. Answer that. Person with the glasses, you have a good answer? Delaney can't seem to cough it out.
So, I mean, we're being berated right now. And so
You're not being berated. You're being asked hard questions that you should have been answered. This is not berating. Okay, trust me. Berating is what our neighbors are living through.
Yeah, I stand corrected. You are absolutely correct.
That's right. I know I am.
I apologize.
Okay. Why is your company
Operations of the studio today and to hear you and to listen, right? We want to hear you and listen. We want to talk.
Get up there.
You know, I really personally care about all of you.
Insane let woman hold a yoga studio hostage.
You gonna put the ice up sign back on the front door? We don't want to chat. We want action. We chat all day long in this state. Are you gonna put the ice outside on back on the front door?
Is that the ask? Yes.
Yeah, and we want you to take us to.
The biggest ask here, and please let me know if you guys are feeling differently. The biggest ask here is that Core Power is a major corporation. They're all over this country. The fact that they're staying silent about what is happening in Minneapolis, not only staying silent, but trying to silence us and speaking out. And by us, I mean the people who are working for Power, your guys' teachers, your guys' people who are presenting you. The fact that is being silenced, the fact that you guys are staying silent, that is complicit. That is not okay. People are being murdered and abducted and attacked here, and it is heinous. I'm a nurse. It kills me to see people getting hurt in our community. This is our community, and this is bullshit. Like, that's what it is. It's silence. It's not putting a sign on the door. It's the fact that you guys don't give a and we're giving you thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, and we can take our wallet? Is that the only way that you guys are gonna see it? Then so be it. We can get a yoga studio someplace else. You guys are Saturdays at noon. Such bullshit. Like, I can give a shit if you personally care about what is happening here. The fact is, you guys are here to resemble and like to be the face of corporate for us to give a listening ear. This is the
under
year.
2 minutes.
The year is that everybody's mad. The year is this community needs help. The year is that like just saying, okay, we'll put the sign on the door. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for more help. We're looking for the corporations that we give our dollars to stand up for what we believe in.
Thank you. We do really care and we do appreciate all of you. And we want to be here to support you as a community. I will personally take this back and see like, what are we going to do? What can we do? I will circle back.
Wow, a circle back. So amazing.
There's been meetings, multiple meetings with corporate. This is the first time corporate's been here. There's been tons of meetings and chats. They know exactly the teachers' demands. They just won't do it. And then they send people who have no idea. I'm not negotiating y'all. They don't have any idea what's going on. These poor people, the corporates are just sent in here to walk into this mess. They're just shirking responsibility. I know I won't be continuing here. I'm going to Onyx and Amelia. That's a model of a gym that's done the right thing from day one. It's women-owned, it's queer-friendly, it's really welcoming. So, and it's clean. So, take that as you will.
And also, I would just say, we got to be real about the fact that 2 white women are here to defend the corporation. I mean, I understand that here, but you also took the assignment. You took the assignment to stand here and defend this corporation. You got up this morning, drove in your car from wherever the you live because you decided to stand with Core Power. So I'm not going to take it easy on you. Yeah, but like, so Delaney with Berated, right? Like, you go home tonight and you look at yourself in the mirror, Delaney, and you ask yourself what side of history you want to stand up.
Oh my God. It seems like it's everything that you can't even go out and do nothing anymore. I'm going to go ahead and play that one.
Those son of a bitches lie.
Listen, if you thought you didn't have a filter, wait till you check out these women. These grandmas have lived long enough to stop caring, stop apologizing, and to start saying exactly what everyone else is thinking. Get ready for no disclaimers, no warning labels, just pure, unfiltered grandma energy.
I don't know about this one, guys.
I've seen people do these, I guess they'd be called memes. Are they called memes? I've seen it done so many times. So freaking funny, man.
Twerk for me. Twerk. What's that? Twerk your butt.
Mom, what did you tell me? What are you're coming out here to tell me, oh, I'm coming out here to get that. You said you were positive. Tell me what you're positive about. Oops.
You sure? The gummies are not all the same strength. If you pick one out of the thing, it's like a half of one.
You think that maybe you got a stronger gummy today?
I got a stronger gummy.
How you feel? You feel good?
I feel real good, yeah. And I'm hungry. I'm glad
She says, I feel real good, yeah, and I'm hungry.
You had a little more than enough. I think I did. You had 2 margaritas. That means tequila. Yeah, I think I did. Mexican tequila. Yeah, I think like I did. Patron. Yeah, I think I did.
Is that a firefighter? It is. It's a fireman. Fireman. Because the caption says, when drunk grandma comes home with grandpa at 7 p.m.
You definitely did, because it took 3 of us to get you in the house. Okay, did it take 3? Eugene, your husband, both your grandsons. Oh, to get you in the house. Yeah, 3. To get me in the house. You think you had enough to drink today? I think I did.
Oh, grandma had enough to drink today. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe there's a fireman there.
Did you drink or didn't you drink? I don't think I did. But you did, Grandma. You can't even get out of the car. I can't. We had to pick you up out of the car. Did you really? Did you really? Yes, in fact, we did. Okay. You want some water? No, I don't think I do. That's water. No, I don't think I do. You want beer? No.
What are we doing, Granny? Ding dong ditching.
What?
Housekeeping.
A ding dong ditching?
Grammy, can I have this? Huh? Can I have this? Okay, thank you. Grammy, can I have these?
Sure.
Really? Thank you.
Alexa, put light bulbs on my grocery list that are soft white, 65 watt.
Grammy, can I have these?
Sure.
Thank
Aw. So she's just going around asking Grammy if she could have random things around the house. And even though there are things that Grammy needs to use, she just put them on her grocery list for the next time, like the light bulbs. That's so sweet.
Well, I figured you brought them down.
Grammy, can I have this?
Sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, Grammy. Can I have these?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Grammy, can I have this?
Sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can have.
Aw, you can have whatever you want. That's so sweet.
What are you doing? I told you. Why are you going across the street to call the police? Why you got your shoes on? So I can go outside, that's why. Grandma, go back in your bed. You get in there yourself. Okay, I will if you will. Shit. What are you doing? Well, you're gonna find out what I'm doing.
Oh boy, what's she going to get? Oh, no. Is it a wooden spoon? Is she going for a wooden spoon? Oh, it's a knife. Grandma not playing. Holy crap.
My friend just had a baby. You see it?
Oh, what happened to it?
Peggy, she's on FaceTime.
Come on. What? He's ready.
Mama, that's insane.
Urine. Now?
Big Uno cards.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought that.
Granny, what are you doing? I'm having a cookie. Granny.
That's right, you guys.
Oh, no.
Where the fuck do you think I'm going with the towel wrapped around me? I'm going in the shower. Is it all right? Am I allowed?
Oh, my God. You remember that one, right, Dave?
There's only one B word I'd call my grandma. Beautiful. I love you, bitch.
Matt. I love you, you little shit.
For somebody who wants to get a tan.
Grammy, I'm not really hungry.
If you don't know the answer, you can answer.
Who, Julie?
Yeah.
Why?
She's dead. And I didn't even know she was dead.
Oh, she was gonna palm his puke. I mean, moms, we do that all the time, we know. But grandma was gonna do it. That's so sweet. Get it, Grandma! Woo! Yeah, what are they throwing? They're throwing something. Oh, they hit her! Oh, they're throwing it, Grandma! Stop that!
Supposed to be an unbreakable plate. They told me, said that it was unbreakable, that you can't break it. Oh, crap. That's what they said, that it was unbreakable. Granny, that's glass. That doesn't feel unbreakable. Oh, but they said it was unbreakable. If I fuck, it's unbreakable. Wait, I'll prove it to you. You want me to prove it to you, motherfucker? I'll prove it to you. Fine, let's test it, Granny. It's unbreakable. Those son of a bitches lie. It was unbreakable. I thought there was nothing else on the Amazon.
You ever had a stick in your ass? Because I've got one, and honey, I can ramrod you.
Damn, Grandma.
And then hum into a.
If you hold a make-believe salt shaker in your hands and you shake it into your mouth, you can actually taste salt.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
No, that's
shut the front
It shut the front door, Grandma.
I like that way better.
You shut the front doors, you motherfucker.
It's over for us, Grandma. They blocked cursing on TikTok.
Oh, really?
Yeah, look, you can't curse anymore.
Fuck them motherfucking cocks. Eating jerk off eating
Have you ever been to jail?
Yes.
When?
Before you were born.
And what did you go to jail for? What was your crime? What crime did you commit?
What did I go for?
Yeah, why was you in jail? Why they lock you up? What did
I went to visit somebody.
Who?
A friend of mine.
So you've never been to jail yourself though, right?
That was me.
What? What are you talking about?
I went to jail.
Uh-huh.
To visit my friend.
Mm-hmm. But have you ever had handcuffs put on you?
Not by police officers.
Whoa.
Caesar Milan, how to add years to
Wow,
your dog's
she had over
life.
2,000 views on this
9.
one, you guys.
Bone broth. 10. Raw eggs blended with the shells.
9.
Suspect has $5,000 hearing aids and never wears them. That's bullshit. They don't work half the time anyway. Suspect is a victim of someone stole her ass. Suspect has the walking farts. Honey, you ain't smelled nothing till you smell mine. Suspect wants a boyfriend, but she's too hard to handle. Y'all okay? Suspect says she's not drinking, but then the whole thing of Fireball goes missing. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. Suspect is a bitch, but I love her the most. Suspect says she has no money, but buys everything on the QVC network. That's because the devil makes me do it. I have at least 200 milligrams of caffeine to even function properly.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. I do too. This is like, I don't know. I think it's like a quad shot or something. I'm almost done.
Well, demonstrate
can't
demonstrate the cane part first.
There. Oh yeah, yeah, sure. That's a cane. That's a cane. All right. Now what to do? Let's show how you ride it.
Sign her up. Grandma's ready for TikTok shop. These grandmas are proof that confidence gets louder with age, and I almost can't wait. If this made your day a little bit brighter, let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. While you're down there, also double check and make sure that you are subscribed, because this is my second channel.
Oh, that was a wild one, huh? I got some short ones before I do the next 15 one.
She is officially exporting them. The best trader in congressional history just touched down in Zurich, Switzerland, and she's not there for chocolate. Insiders say she is holding closed-door meetings with the biggest Swiss banks to pitch the Pelosi algorithm. She is reportedly selling real-time access to her portfolio before the public filings even hit the U.S. web. She's turning her intuition into a global product. Here is the genius and terrifying part. She's pitching this as a way to save the U.S. economy by getting Swiss billionaires to copy her trades instantly. She forces massive foreign capital into American tech stocks like Nvidia and Microsoft. She is literally pumping the S&P 500 using Swiss gold. She allegedly told the bankers, "I don't guess the market, I am the market." Critics are calling it the ultimate infinite money glitch. If the Swiss buy what she buys, the price goes up and her own portfolio skyrockets. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy funded by the Alps. She's not just a politician anymore. She's the world's most expensive signal group. Is this insider trading or 4D chess to boost America? Drop a stock chart if you would subscribe to her tracker. Nancy Pelosi isn't hiding her trades anymore. She is officially exporting them. The best trader in congressional history just touched down in Zurich, Switzerland, and she's not there for chocolate. Insiders say she is holding closed-door meetings with the biggest Swiss banks to pitch the Pelosi algorithm. She is reportedly selling real-time access to her portfolio before the public filings even hit the U.S. web. She's turning her intuition into a global product. Here is the genius and terrifying part. She's pitching this as a way to save the U.S. economy by getting Swiss billionaires to copy her trades instantly. She forces massive foreign capital into American tech stocks like Nvidia and Microsoft. She is literally pumping the S&P 500 using Swiss gold. She allegedly told the bankers, "I don't guess the market, I am the market." Critics are calling it the ultimate infinite money glitch. If the Swiss buy what she buys, the price goes up and her own portfolio skyrockets. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy funded by the Alps. She's not just a politician anymore. She's the world's most expensive signal group. Is this insider trading or 4D chess to boost America? Drop a stock chart.
Gosh, a short clip. I got another baby one, a funny one. I don't know if it's funny or not, but they got 2,000 likes or views. $11 minutes.
So you want to work here at McDonald's?
Don't get it twisted, Kamala. I don't want the job. The job wants me. Ronald called me himself, begging, very emotional, almost crying. Clowns don't cry often, by the way. Very stoic people. Pagliacci, great opera, sad clown, tremendous voice. But Ronald, tears. He said, "Mr. Trump, I need you in one of my franchises."
What are your qualifications?
Same as yours for president, 0. But I love McDonald's. The Golden Arches, they call it. Very few people know that. Big Mac, beautiful sandwich. Apple pies, a little too hot sometimes. We'll look into that. Filet-O fish, very underrated. Remember Filet-O fish Fridays? We're bringing that back. Make Fridays Filet-O fish again.
Okay, well, one thing you need to know is you don't just fall out of a coconut tree into this job. When you work at McDonald's, you exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you, which is hunger. But what can be unburdened by what has been is being full.
Kamala, wrap it up. I need an Egg McMuffin before I evolve into a different species listening to you. Egg McMuffins, breakfast of champions. Muhammad Ali told me that once. We had breakfast at a rest stop in Newark. He said, "Champ," he called me champ. "These McMuffins are almost as good as your Trump steaks." I said, "Almost, Ali, almost."
Okay, you're hired, but I'm the manager. I'm in charge. You report to me.
Wait. Why are you working at McDonald's? You were vice president. You ran for president. You had $1 billion campaign. What happened?
Well, I lost.
Very McBadly, I may add.
And then speaking fees dried up. Spotify canceled my podcast before I even had one. I tried doing cameos. People charged me for having to watch them. Requested refunds, Donald. Doug's been locked in the basement working on his music.
What kind of music?
Jazz fusion.
Jazz fusion? That's the worst. Kenny G tried that. Great guy. Tremendous hair. I taught him how to putt downhill. Very soothing, but even he gave up. Doug's down there with a bongo and a dream.
When do you want to start?
Right now. Put me on drive-through where the people are. Kamala, man of the people. I need to connect. Take their orders. Upsell their beverages. Ask them what sauce they want. This is the front lines of fast food. This is where America happens, where dreams come true, one McCrispy strip at a time. Duty calls. P.S. You're fired.
What? I just hired you.
The drive-through guy has firing power. People don't know that. Very important power. McDonald's 101. You read the manual if you can read, and it's right there. Very clear. Very legal.
This
Says
one
who?
okay?
Ray Kroc, the founder, played by the great Michael Keaton in that movie. Fantastic performance. Old friend of mine. I convinced him to do Beetlejuice, responsible for his whole career, if you think about it. Anyway, Ray Kroc said drive-through employees can fire managers. It's in the charter. Look it up.
Okay.
That's not.
You're fired, Kamala. Also, I'm promoting myself to manager, effective immediately. The people are waiting. Welcome to McDonald's. This is President and new manager, Donald J. Trump. Will you be using the mobile app today?
Come on, man. Is this a joke?
Hey, Kobe.
Hello. Does this robot sense humans or heat or hair plugs?
It senses intelligence, Joe. You're invisible.
Jill, he says I'm invisible. Am I invisible?
Jill's not in the car, Joe,
Dr. Jill.
right? Doctor. We must call her doctor. She has a PhD in education. What's she going to do? Perform open heart surgery on a history textbook?
Can I get, here's the deal. Right. Can I get a Licky Tower?
I'm not even sure what he's ordering. I don't think he knows what he's ordering either, quite frankly.
That. I want that.
Oh, ice cream? You want ice cream, Joe? I have bad news, terrible news. The worst news. I hate being the bearer of bad news, but someone has to tell you the ice cream machine is broken, unfortunately.
What? I can see you eating ice cream right now.
This is from Burger King, Joe. I had to go to the competition. Very embarrassing. Machine's been broken for years. You ruined it. You, Obama, and Hunter, who probably sold the parts to Ukraine for $10 million. The big guy gets 10% of the sprinkles. That's you, Sleepy Joe. Except there are no sprinkles because the machine's broken. So you get 10% of nothing. Story of your presidency.
Come on, man. That's not fair.
We used to make the best ice cream machines. Then you threw it all away, like how Kamala threw away $1 billion on Beyonce, who didn't sing, which I preferred, by the way. Look, Joe, you're holding up the line. Mayor McCheese is behind you, handing out free smiles, very generous burger. Pull around, go home, take your nap.
But I just wanted...
Give Corn Pop my best. Here are some free crayons for Hunter's next masterpiece.
About 5 minutes, you guys.
Yes, I'm Clint Bilton.
Fill your buddy with blood and get harder than a 20-year-old. It's real. Follow this tip.
If you want to get truly
And I would like 2 Big Macs, large fries, 20-piece nuggets, 2 apple pies, and another one.
Bill, you've been through here 7 times today.
Damn it, how'd you know?
How'd I know? Let's count, Bill. 1, your mustache is fake. 2, your license plate says not Bill. Very suspicious. And 3, you ordered the exact same thing 7 times. I recognize patterns, Bill.
Hillary's got me on a diet. Kale, quinoa. She makes me drink green juice. Tastes like a lawnmower had diarrhea.
That's disgusting, Bill. Truly disgusting, but relatable. Here's your 8th Big Mac. You want me to put it in a salad bag so Hillary doesn't see?
Would you please?
No. You're a former president. Act like it. But tell you what, you want extra fries? Subscribe to the Baby News Network right now. Pull out your phone, hit subscribe, show me proof. Bam, extra fries. free.
I'll do anything for more fries.
So would Monica. Now be a man and go cry in the parking lot.
I'd like a quarter pounder with cheese, please, and make it snappy. I'm so hungry I could eat the north end of a southbound skunk.
Senator Kennedy, I never know what the hell you're saying, but I love it. You're like if Mark Twain and Foghorn Leghorn had a baby. Mark Twain, not his real name. A lot of people don't know that real name, Samuel Langhorne Clemens. I told him, Sammy, drop the Langhorne. Nobody can pronounce it. Sounds like you're coughing up a ham. Asked me to read the first draft of Huck Finn. Painful. This kid floating on a raft for 300 pages. 300 pages, John. I said, Sammy, put them on a yacht, give them a motor, a jet ski, something, speed it up. He said, that's not the point, Donald. I said, the point is nobody's finishing this book, Sam. It's boring. River, river, more river. Oh, look, another river. He got very upset, threw a quill at me. Missed. Bad aim. Here's your burger, John.
Much obliged, Donald. You're busier than a one-legged cat in a sandbox.
This is easy. I'm a natural. Look at this technique, like holding a tiny tennis racket. John McEnroe, great friend, beautiful curly hair. Johnny Mac, they called him. Still do, actually. Tremendous temper. 5-second rule. Some say 3. I say 5. At Mar-a-Lago, food can stay on those floors forever. Italian marble. So clean, Dr. Ben Carson offered to do a heart transplant on it. Put some ketchup on it. Nobody knows. That's business.
You can't, Donald.
Bill's immunity. Kamala. George Washington ate floor food. Abe Lincoln, floor food. That's how they got strong. Also, you're fired again.
Those are for customers.
I am quality control, which, by the way, if the Democrat Party had quality control, they never would have let you run for president. You couldn't even answer, what would you do differently than Joe Biden? Just laughed for 30 seconds. The audience thought it was a glitch. People thought their TVs were broken, like the ending of The Sopranos. But no, just Kamala cackling into the void.
About 2 minutes.
Donald.
What? It's Diet Coke, 0 calories. It's basically water. In fact, some people say it is water. Very good friends in the beverage industry, CEOs, scientists, calling me up, sir, we believe Diet Coke might actually be water. So we're looking into it very strongly.
That's not how.
Quitting time. Wish I could slide down the back of a dinosaur like Fred Flintstone. Great guy, Fred. Hard worker. Used to see him at the butcher. I'd say, Fred, don't tie those ribs to the roof. You'll flip your car. Never listened. Never wore shoes either. Tough feet. Beautiful wife, Wilma. Loyal, unlike some people. P.S. You're fired again. Give Doug my condolences. He'll understand. Good luck with this place. You'll need it.
That's it? You're just leaving?
Kamala, I came here to work. I worked. I conquered. I fired you 4 times. Mission accomplished.
But
also, I took all the Diet Coke. It's in my car. Sue me. McDonald's? Great experience. Would I do it again? Absolutely. Will I? Probably not. I've got a country to run. But when I'm back in office, 2 executive orders. 1, McRib is permanent. No more limited time only. It's not the Loch Ness Monster. It's a sandwich. Stop hiding it. 2, arrest Grimace. What is that thing? A chemical spill? A bruise with arms? Doesn't even work there. Just loiters. Jail. And we're finally investigating the Hamburglar. Years of theft. Inside job. Stealing from his own company. RICO charges. Permanent McRib. Grimace behind bars. Hamburglar in court. That's the America we deserve.
Okay, that was 2 humor ones we played. I got a couple out. Got some short ones here. I'll go to 6 o'clock.
The media and politicians censor the president's policies rather than explaining them to the American people. They're also pumping poison 24/7 to the American people about Donald Trump. Just look at these two exchanges with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent in the House last week. He was there to report on the fundamental economic progress being made by President Trump. When the Treasury Secretary began to document the impact of illegal immigration on housing supply and costs, Ranking Member Maxine Waters called for him to be, quote, shut him up.
10 and 20 million immigrants.
Can you
look
shut
at the housing stock of working Americans, and can you maintain some level of dignity?
Gentleman's time has expired.
No, my time has not expired.
Congressman Gregory Meeks just went publicly berserk.
All you have to ask is yes or no.
No, Congressman.
All you have to ask
the
is yes or
OCC is an independent entity, and I would know, Congressman.
I take that as a no.
You traveled to Venezuela.
I take that as a no.
On behalf of
So just as the globalist elite crashes in London, out trots disgraced MI6 fabricator Christopher Steele to attempt to make it all go away. Steele, you may remember, is the author of the fake dirty dossier on Donald Trump, which was the founding document of the Russiagate coup d'etat in the United States. Steele, in an interview with the London Times, tells us in no uncertain terms that Epstein was the ultimate Putin super spy, running incredibly sophisticated honey traps in which the world's best and brightest were somehow all captured by Russian organized crime. If you didn't follow the ins and outs of Russiagate, you might think these lies are all new. They're not. They were part and parcel of lies about Donald Trump concocted in the 2016 to 2018 operation, which involved the CIA, MI6, and much of the American establishment. Steele's lies cover up the real scandal, which all comes back to the City of London and current British and American political operatives. When the Soviet Union disbanded, Russia was looted to the bone by oligarchs functioning under the control of the City of London bankers. Jacob Rothschild, for example, was the controller of the oligarch Mikhail Khodorkovsky, and that's all documented. Russian organized crime provided huge chunks of the looted revenue flow into the City of London banking center, as well as the New York Fed. Many believe that without it, the City of London bankers would not have survived the 90s. When Putin came to power, he ended much of that. But the dirty money flows from Russian organized crime continued into London's bank and offshore havens. 4 years ago, Chatham House, the think tank for British secret intelligence, claimed that it was finally shutting down what they admitted was Russia's London money laundering. It became just too ostentatious and just too exposed. So despite Christopher Steele's fictions, all roads continue to lead right back to London when you're looking for the corrupt and perverted authors of the dying system. So this Saturday, the perverted world elites find themselves trapped between the failure of their system and the exposures of their true character and crimes. They can only manufacture lies and destruction. Trump's American system of prosperity, productivity, and the mission to create a better life for your children provides the escape hatch from this hell. But the American people have to know about Trump's policies and the system which has powered every economic growth spurt in our nation's history. The American system has to be hammered home to people ahead of the midterms. The key question to your congressional representative has to be, what do you know about the American system? Do you support it? That's how you should determine your vote. That educational mission is what Promethean Action has adopted as our most urgent task. You can support us by subscribing to our newsletter.
Okay, our TikTok ladies. This one is a Tennessee update. Oh, this is 4 minutes.
Begin transmission. Greetings. We are Anonymous, also known as the Collective. Today's date is Saturday, February 7th, 2026.
Oh, I guess not. It's today's video.
This is a message to the people of Tennessee, defenders of civil liberties, and members of the legal profession, and to the families of TDOC inmates. What is occurring inside the Tennessee Department of Correction is no longer a matter of mismanagement. It is a documented pattern of constitutional violations, carried out through policy avoidance, retaliatory discipline, and administrative indifference. We have received enough documentation from an inmate's family that we agreed to attempt to shine some light into Tennessee's dark system. At Bledsoe County Correctional Complex, inmates who report threats or assaults are routinely advised, informally but consistently, that the only way to remain alive is to refuse a cell assignment. This tactic is known to staff. Its consequences are automatic: disciplinary write-ups, placement in segregation, loss of phone access, elimination of physical mail, prolonged isolation without meaningful review. This is not protective custody. This is punitive segregation used to silence victims. The result is predictable. Gang-controlled housing units remain intact. Victims are removed instead of aggressors. Reporting violence leads to punishment. Whistleblowers are isolated. These practices implicate 8th Amendment violations through deliberate indifference to safety, 14th Amendment violations through punishment without due process, First Amendment violations by cutting off communication after complaints are raised. Understaffing is cited as justification, yet it functions as institutional cover. Grievances are delayed beyond policy timelines. Investigations are claimed but not substantiated. Official responses contain omissions, partial truths, and even incorrect identification, demonstrating a lack of genuine review. Oversight authorities have been notified, facility leadership, institutional investigators, the Commissioner's Office. No corrective action has followed. The department is fully aware that inmate advocacy organizations, including the NAACP and other civil rights groups, face 18 to 24-month backlogs, leaving incarcerated individuals without timely external relief. This delay is not addressed. It is relied upon. County jail crises across Tennessee, overcrowding, understaffing, preventable deaths, do not end at intake. They are absorbed into state custody and normalized. This reflects a failure of leadership. Under Governor Bill Lee's administration, Tennessee's correctional system has become one where victims are punished, records are withheld, retaliation replaces reform, and silence is enforced. Inmates are not disposable. They are not property. They are human beings protected by the Constitution. To any attorney, advocate, or legal professional who still believes that human rights do not end at the prison gate, if you have the capacity, the resolve, and the integrity to challenge that stock, identify yourself in the comments of this broadcast. The facts are documented. The pattern is established. The harm is ongoing. Public exposure is no longer optional. It is necessary. Contact us if you are a TDOC whistleblower, or the family member with documentation of the same abuse. We are the voice of the silent. We are the eyes of the blind. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us. End transmission.
Okay, our mask guy.
For more on this, let's.
I got two more. 1:15. Let's do the short one. We'll get the other. Shoot. Thought I had it. So we'll get this one and one more good one here. 4 minutes on this.
The banker's inside man in Britain was during and after the 2008 financial crash. Here's the most important snippet from the latest document, though. It's about Lord Peter Mandelson, and here's how Jeffrey Epstein describes him. Well, for all intents and purposes, PD is now acting deputy prime minister. What was Jeffrey Epstein, who was in jail when that was written, and Lord Peter Mandelson doing in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crash? Remember, these discussions are going on while the bankers are being bailed out and the global financier elite are being saved. But instead of that story, here's what you're being inundated with. Now, if you read the TDS-infected press like The Guardian, you'll see headlines like, Trump news at a glance, Epstein files release shows emails with Trump officials, past and present. Or on the other side of the political spectrum, Fox News focuses on new Epstein documents include photos of Bill Clinton, shirtless in hot tub, socializing with Michael Jackson. Or if you want to go hardcore British psyops, The Telegraph says Epstein's links to Putin and Kremlin spies raised fears he was a Russian agent. Now, here's what they don't want you to think about. The 2008 financial crisis was never really solved. The banks got bailed out at the expense of the American taxpayers and the economy. And now Donald Trump is finally taking down that criminal free trade system of the global bankers. On the very same day these new Mandelson revelations came out, Donald Trump was busy dismantling what is left of that old world order with dramatic new economic moves, including the creation of a strategic critical minerals reserve. Now, if you think this is a coincidence, you haven't been paying attention. And most important, it's not about sex and blackmail. I'm Susan Kokinda, and for months, I've been telling you that the big reveal in the Epstein files was about Peter Mandelson and how it had more to do with the 2008 financial collapse and the banker's empire than it did plane trips to an island. So if you want to get above the noise and get the deeper story, hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons so we can stay in touch and we can reach more people. We're going to look at three things today. First, the new Epstein revelations on Mandelson and why Epstein called him the acting deputy prime minister during the 2008-2010 financial crisis. How President Trump is addressing the root causes of that financial collapse by abandoning the bankers' model of free trade. And third, how Project Vault, the new strategic mineral reserve, is a powerful reassertion of American economic sovereignty. So the real big casualty of this latest dump is Lord Peter Mandelson, the former British ambassador to the United States who had the assignment of trying to manage Donald Trump. That didn't work out so well. His was one of the first heads to roll in the first Epstein file release. He was forced to resign as ambassador. But now this new file dump has forced Mandelson to resign both from the Labour Party and to leave his seat in Parliament. And a few minutes ago, this headline just dropped: how King Charles could strip Mandelson of his peerage. Now, to the extent the American press has even mentioned Mandelson's resignations, they portray it as another disgusting episode in the world of jet-setting perverts. But that's only the subplot. They don't want you to look at the main storyline. Mandelson wasn't just socializing with Epstein. He was a top-level policy operative embedded in the British government, and the new files show devastating evidence that in 2009 and 2010, right in the middle of the financial crisis, Mandelson was leaking highly sensitive government information to Jeffrey Epstein. Thanks to the latest.
Okay, we got the two ladies from the TikTok group. The last one will be, it's under 15. One minute, you guys.
Must never begin. It begins quietly, technically, administratively.
Tomorrow
with
at
a switch
2.
that can be flipped before most people even understand it exists. And when it happens, it doesn't look like confiscation at first. It looks like a delay, a restriction, a temporary safeguard, a security measure, a technical issue, a stability protocol. Until one morning you wake up, open your banking app, and your money is still there. But you can't move it. No transfer, no withdrawal, no exit. Not because you lost it, but because it's been paused, frozen. People assume this is a futuristic risk, something from a dystopian movie, something that might happen someday in a fully digital economy. But the uncomfortable truth is this: account freezes are not new. They are not theoretical. They are not rare. They've already happened many times in multiple countries under very different political systems across more than a century of financial history. And every time the public said the same thing: this is temporary, this is necessary, this is for stability, until stability never returned for a large percentage of people affected. Let's start with something most people never study in detail: bank holidays, not vacations, not weekends. Bank holidays are when the entire banking system is deliberately shut down by government order. In March of 1933, at the height of the Great Depression, the United States government closed every bank in the country, every single one. Depositors could not withdraw funds. Checks could not clear. Transfers stopped. Access was cut. This was called a bank holiday, but for ordinary citizens, it felt like financial paralysis. Businesses couldn't pay suppliers. Workers couldn't access wages. Families couldn't reach their savings. The official justification was to stop bank runs and stabilize the financial system. And to be clear, it did help prevent further collapse. But notice the mechanism. Access to money was not negotiated. It was not optional. It was switched off by authority. Now move forward in time. Argentina, multiple crises, multiple freezes. In 2001, during a severe financial crisis, the Argentine government imposed what became known as the corralito. That word means little corral, like a fenced enclosure, and that's exactly what happened to people's bank deposits. Withdrawals were limited to tiny weekly amounts. Transfers were restricted. Dollar accounts were forcibly converted. People could see their balances, but could not access their funds freely. Middle-class savers, people who had done everything right, were suddenly trapped inside the financial system. Protests exploded, riots followed, governments fell, but the freezes held. Because once capital controls are imposed during crisis, they are rarely reversed quickly, and never reversed without damage. Now consider Cyprus in 2013. This one is critical because it introduced a concept many people still don't fully understand: the bail-in. During the Cypriot banking crisis, large depositors did not just face limits, they lost money directly from their accounts. Deposits above certain thresholds were forcibly converted into bank equity to recapitalize failing institutions. In plain language, money inside accounts was used to save the banks themselves. People didn't withdraw and lose money through market loss. Their balances were restructured by decree. Imagine discovering that your account was not just frozen, but partially rewritten. And again, the justification was stability. Stability always arrives as the argument. Security always arrives as the reason. Emergency always arrives as the legal door. Now here's what's changed, and why this topic matters more today than in any previous era. In the past, freezes were blunt instruments. They required paperwork, physical banks, legal notices, operational delays, human intervention. Tomorrow's freezes won't. They will be automated, instant, targeted, silent. Because when money becomes fully digital and centrally programmable, restrictions don't need mass announcements. They can be applied at the account level, the transaction level, even the individual purchase level. Instead of closing every bank, the system can close you. One profile, one wallet, one identity flag, no lines outside branches, no visible panic, just quiet denial of access. And most people won't even know it's happening to others, because modern systems can isolate restrictions without creating public spectacle. That is historically new. In older crises, control created visible chaos, crowds, closures, riots, headlines. In modern digital systems, control can be invisible, which makes it more efficient, more precise, and more dangerous if misused. Now step back and look at the pattern across history. Financial authorities don't begin with confiscation. They begin with friction, withdrawal limits, transfer delays, verification holds, security reviews, temporary freezes. Each step sounds reasonable in isolation, but stacked together, they create something powerful: dependency without exit, and that, not collapse, is what systems actually try to achieve when under stress, because a system that people cannot exit is a system that can be managed. Most people assume account freezes only happen during total economic collapse, hyperinflation, bank failures, currency breakdown. But modern financial control doesn't only appear during collapse. Sometimes it appears during protest, during political tension, during regulatory enforcement, during public safety operations, not system-wide, targeted. And that changes everything. Because when freezes are selective instead of universal, they don't create panic, they create silence. Let's talk about targeted financial restrictions. Cases where access was restricted, not because banks failed, but because behavior triggered enforcement. In multiple countries over the suspected financial violations, sometimes before formal conviction, sometimes before full legal process was complete. This is usually justified under anti-money laundering rules, anti-terror financing laws, or emergency authority frameworks. And to be clear, many of these tools were created for legitimate reasons. The problem is not their existence, the problem is their scalability. Because once the infrastructure exists to freeze accounts instantly, the only remaining variable is who qualifies, and that definition can expand. Modern banking systems already run real-time compliance screening. Transactions are monitored, transfers are scored, patterns are flagged, profiles are risk-rated. Most people think this only applies to criminals. The truth is more technical. It applies to risk signals, and risk signals are algorithmic, which means freezes can begin as automated precaution, not proven guilt. That is a structural shift from historical finance. In the past, enforcement followed investigation. Now enforcement can precede it. Funds
This is
first,
the last
questions
video
later.
under 8 minutes.
Now connect this to programmable money.
2 o'clock
If
tomorrow.
currency itself becomes programmable, not just accounts, restrictions move one layer deeper. Instead of freezing your bank, the system can restrict the money unit itself. That means this balance can't be transferred. This payment can't be sent. This purchase category is blocked. This wallet cannot transact outside allowed nodes, not through a branch manager, through code. And code executes without hesitation. No human delay, no emotional friction, no negotiation, just rule, execution. Supporters argue this increases fraud prevention, tax compliance, and financial integrity. Critics argue it increases behavioral control. Both statements can be true at the same time, because technology is neutral. Its effects depend entirely on governance and limits. Now here's the part most people underestimate. Restrictions don't need to be permanent to change behavior.
Yeah, this
Temporary
last
friction
one
changes
tonight.
behavior faster than permanent punishment. If people know accounts can be paused, they self-adjust. If people know transactions can be flagged, they self-filter. If people know financial access is conditional, they comply before being asked. This is called anticipatory compliance, and it appears in every controlled system across history, not because people are weak, but because money access equals survival, rent, food, transport, medicine. When financial rails are conditional, behavior becomes conditional. Now look at how this connects to your video theme. When money becomes programmable, control doesn't need force, it needs rules. Rules embedded in transaction logic. And once rules are embedded, freedom depends on permission architecture. Most people don't think of these terms yet, but system designers already do. Now take the final step in the chain. If money can be frozen, and money can be restricted, and money can be programmed with rules, then money can also be guided, not just blocked, guided. This is where financial control stops being defensive and becomes behavioral. Because the most powerful control systems don't just stop bad actions, they steer preferred actions. And history shows that whenever authorities gain the ability to steer economic behavior directly, they eventually use it. First for stabilization, then for policy, then for social outcomes. Let's talk about expiration money. This has already been tested. In modern digital currency pilot programs, or including large-scale ones, authorities experimented with issuing funds that expire if not spent within a certain time window. Why would they do this? Because during recessions, governments want stimulus money to circulate, not be saved. Saving slow velocity, spending increases velocity. Velocity drives short-term economic activity. From a macroeconomic standpoint, expiration features are efficient. From a personal freedom standpoint, they are transformative. Because saving stops being your choice. Time becomes a rule attached to your money. Use it or lose it. That is not a theory paper idea. That is a tested feature in real pilot systems. Now extend the logic. If money can expire, it can also be category limited, spendable only on approved goods, only at approved vendors, only inside approved regions. Historically, this existed in analog form through ration books and coupon systems. During World War II, multiple countries used ration coupons to control consumption of fuel, sugar, meat, and other goods. Citizens could only buy within quota. It was justified by wartime scarcity and largely accepted. But those systems required paper, inspection, and enforcement manpower. Digital programmable money removes that friction. The rule enforces itself. Transaction fails automatically outside quota. No inspector needed. Now imagine this applied not during World War, but during climate policy, health emergencies, energy shortages, or financial crises. Again, not because of villainy, because of capability. Capabilities get used. There is another behavioral layer, incentive steering. Programmable money can reward specific actions automatically. Spend here, get bonus credit, buy approved goods, get rebates, avoid disapproved categories, get benefits. Economists call this targeted policy efficiency. Behavioral scientists call this nudge architecture. From a systems perspective, it is programmable compliance. Your wallet becomes a policy interface, and when wallets become policy interfaces, neutrality is gone. For thousands of years, money did not ask why you spent it. In programmable systems, money can check. Now step back and look at the full arc we've walked through across this video. Money started as scarce metal, resistant to manipulation. Then it became paper redeemable for metal, convenient but constrained. Then redemption was removed, flexibility increased. Then money became fully fiat, expansion accelerated. Then money became fully digital, visibility increased. Now money is becoming programmable, permission increases. That is the structural progression, not collapse, evolution. But evolution always redistributes power. The key lesson from monetary history is not that every new system becomes tyranny. That's too simplistic. The real lesson is this. Every increase in monetary control capacity changes the balance between citizen freedom and institutional power, sometimes slightly, sometimes dramatically.
Okay, we got 2 of the mask videos today. Those were good ones. I had a show this afternoon, but I pushed the wrong buttons and no one got the notifications. So that one was all messed up. So tomorrow will be 2 o'clock. It's Super Bowl day tomorrow. So we'll play 3 hours, go 2 to 5 tomorrow. Game's about at 6:30. If anything happens, I'll be on during the Super Bowl. If anything happens during the Super Bowl. So, hang in there, Carol. And I bless everybody. Love all. And Carol, Tim, Lucy, and still taking time off. And so God bless. Stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith, and never give up. Make sure everybody signs in the description box by backup channel too. Signing off for tonight, you guys. Be safe out there and stay warm. And God bless. And signing off, Chico Dude.